Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Today's topic, sex, not gender. Yep, I'm going there. Oh man, this is a terrible angle. You can see my mess down there in the corner. I need to clean my room up. I'm so bloody busy all the time. I know, I really do need to just take time out and take care of the mundane things. But bloody heck, I am so busy all the time. It's kind of driving me nuts. Wow, I did not pop open in its own. Why is this not popping open in its own window? Okay, here we go. Saying hello to those coming in. What's up, Aaron Alfetchi, Matt Cosson, Lady Celtic Moon, Metalhead, Withheld, Rather Not Say, Travis Kirkland, Alan Walker, Zach Bradley, Aloha, Pat, what's up? Hikaru, Manga Man, and Brett Learnmonth, and Jean d'Arc. What's up, Jean d'Arc? What is up, one and all? You know what sucks? I'm trying to get my daughter into this private school, but they have this nice fascistic law here in California wherein you have to have all your immunizations to go to school. I mean, they won't even schedule you for an interview unless you have your immunizations. So it's not like, well, if she gets in, okay, we'll go and get her shots. Right? It's like, no, in order to have an interview to get in, you have to go and get your shot. Does anybody know a doctor who can write me an excuse to get Eden out of getting her stupid freaking immunization shots? Anyone? Is there a doctor in the house? Is there a doctor in the house? All I need is a letter. All I need is a miracle. Nope. I don't need a miracle. I just need a doctor. Why does not have shots? We have a cousin who was you always hear these people who had these perfectly normal, rambunctious little kids, and then they got shots, and then suddenly they were a completely different person. And then people are like, oh, that doesn't really happen. Shots don't do anything. They don't cause autism. They don't do anything. And you hear all this stuff from the medical association, the ones that are making billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars off of shots every single year, telling us all that it's perfectly fine to stick mercury and foreign substances into our infants. Well, that happened to one of my wife's cousins. So it's not anecdotal when it happens to you, is it? So yeah, one time I got a flu shot. I got the flu. Yeah, Alan Walker. It's a great story. When I was working at Ion Storm in Texas, and they were doing free flu shots. My buddy Nia and I were the only ones who didn't trust flu shots, and so we're the only ones who didn't get the flu shots. Everyone who got the flu shots got the flu from the shot. And Deanna and I didn't. We're the only ones who didn't. What? You're saying you don't trust multi-billion-dollar corporations? Funny, right? No, I don't trust. It's not even the corporations. The corporations are I don't know. It's weird. It's like when you have the corporations. It's not capitalism itself. It's crony capitalism. You've got corporations paying off legislatures and government officials who then create these laws that force people to take something that benefits the corporation. Get your government out of my business and keep your business out of my government, and let the free market decide. All right? Never had a flu shot in my life. Neither have I, Thomas Stanfield. Neither have I. Aaron says, I will get any shots as long as I pay for it. When it's free, I get suspicious. Matt says he's never had the shots and he's never had the flu. What's interesting, boy, people confuse like the actual flu also with like a bad cold or a virus or something like that. The flu's freaking gnarly. If you got the flu, you know you have the flu, right? It is gnarly. I mean, people do actually die from the flu if you're like a little tiny kid or an old lady with an older person with, or if you just have a very, very weak immune system, that type of thing. But as long as you've got a healthy immune system, yeah. Just pull the race card on them. It works every time on leftists. It's the school's not leftist. It's a Christian school. Oh, I knew I had the flu. I felt like death was at my door for sure. Oh, okay. 2 times since 2001. I honestly don't remember ever having the full-blown flu in my entire life. Like, you know, where it's coming out of both ends. I mean, I've had, like, viruses where you get body aches and you know, all the sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching stuff. You had fever so you can rest. Crap. But, yeah, the full, like, if you read, like, the descriptions of, like, what you get if you have full-blown whatever flu it is, I don't think I've ever had it. I'm a pretty healthy guy. Brett says, yeah, last time I got a flu shot, I was sick for 2 months. Haven't gotten one since, and now I rarely get sick. Yeah, nothing makes your immune system healthier than attacking it with viruses. What the? Jean d'Arc says, the upside is that it does reduce the symptoms if you get it, and the majority of the time the vaccine works. I teach health science and actually covered this with students not long ago. So you teach health science, which means that you're getting your information from the companies that are making tens of billions of dollars selling vaccines. Well, the problem is you have kids and some adults sneezing and shaking your hand and not giving a flip when they are sick. I'm tired of it. Yeah. Pat says, I haven't had the flu shot since I was about 8. I'm 33 now, and I've gotten the flu twice from 8 to 33. Orientals are immune from the flu, Mike. Are we? Then why does my mother get the flu shot every stinking year? I don't know why she does this to herself. Vomiting out of all the orifices. The biggest thing is wash your hands. If you wash your hands at any point during the chain of infection, it will break. I wash my hands religiously. I cannot stand. If my hands even just feel a little oily, I know I probably wash my hands a little too much. But yeah, I might have a good thing to do about that. That flu shot is just for brainwashing. Well, it makes a whole lot of money. And if you do the math, I've done the math on this. You're actually more likely to get the flu, even statistically, if you get the flu shot. It's like, I'm not going to run the numbers right now, but if you look at the numbers, like people who don't get shots versus people who do get shots, the percentage of people who don't get shots that get the flu, the percentage of people who do get shots that get the flu, it's higher among the people who get the flu shot. It's not even statistically questionable. It's how people don't just look at those numbers and go, oh, well, that's probably a bad idea. Vaccines hurt young children. Don't poison your kids. Yeah, Peter, but she is 16 years old, so I think she's beyond getting yeah, it's not good injecting yourself with all that crap, though, especially all at the same time. I need a doctor. Doctor. Oh, wait. I have a doctor in the family. Well, ex-family. My ex-sister-in-law's dad is a doctor. I wonder if he could write a note. Jean says the overuse of antibiotics has caused a lot of health issues too. Now we have all these superbugs that are resistant to antibiotics. Absolutely agree with you on that. Yeah, I know people take antibiotics like candy because they're like, oh no, I'm getting sick. That doesn't help. It's not helping. Yeah, and it causes, like, what does that call it? MRSA, MRSA. Ugh. People, come on now. Anyways, probably shouldn't talk about this all day, so why don't we pop over to... Come on, where is it? Where you be? Yesterday's commentary. Let me reduce this too. Saturday's comments from Chinese Genesis. Hope you guys all liked that show. I thought that was fun. Kevin Ryan says, Chinese Genesis, does Phil Collins sing for them too? No, Phil Collins does. Uncle Draw says, I'm always right, except that one time when I thought I was wrong, so I double-checked it. I was right. You know, when I was a kid, we had this little hot plate. It's like a little piece of metal with grills on it, so like, if you have a pan or something and you want to take it off the stove, you just put it on the hot plate so it doesn't burn the counter or whatever. And it had this little green funky monster on it. Remember the little guy, the little fuzzy guy from the 70s? He was like he was like one of the earliest memes. It was just like the little fuzzy green dude. And sometimes you'd see him like flipping people off and whatnot. It's like, anybody remember this? Yeah, I totally just remembered it right now. And anyways, on the plate it says, I once thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. Super Crusader says, any thoughts about the theory that Nephilim bloodlines are still around and that the Illuminati, shadow government, globalist elites are made up of these hybrids? Also, what do you make of the various assertions that Noah's Ark has been found? Any, and that's it. He stops at any. To your first point, any thoughts on the theory that Nephilim bloodlines are still around? And that they are Illuminati, shadow government, globalist elites. I'm going to divorce those two. I have not delved into that particular... you guys know I love a good conspiracy theory, but I have not delved into the Illuminati, shadow government, globalist elite being hybrids or lizard people or any of that kind of stuff yet. I really need to, because it sounds like a lot of fun. But as far as Nephilims being around, I don't know. I kind of side with Missler that they are the Greys, the aliens that the quote unquote aliens that we see are the result of genetic degradation in the human genome and crossbreeding with because like all of the UFO sightings or what are they always trying to get? Reproductive materials, right? It's like, we're traveling 400 billion light years across space to jerk some guy off. Yeah, that's reasonable. No, but if they're trying to collect genetic information in order to continue breeding Nephilim, I don't know. It's all conjecture. It's fun conjecture, it can be, but as far as being globalist elites, yeah, that might be I don't know. Let me look into that. That could be fun if I have time. Lady Celtic Moon says 2:15 Monday. Watching out to see when you start. Oh, hi. I hope you're here. You're here, right? I said hi, didn't I? Lady Celtic Moon's here, right? Right? Yes? No? Yes? Scrolling up for more. Yeah, she was in here first. Well, second. Brian Murphy says, Mike, I've been a fan of you and EVS since the start, and this really hurts my heart. To an outsider, it seems like as soon as Bigfoot Bill or Lone Star #1 was funded, you two are out of the door and bashing Comicsgate. Now EVS is a villain, but everything was great when you needed help. I'm going to stop you right here. Lone Star was funded like a year ago. I have never bashed Comicsgate. EVS, I have not called him a villain. I simply have expressed my disagreements with his perspective, which apparently, well, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. That was last week. It's over. I'm done. He continues, in my humble outrider view, EVS helped many struggling artists to get printed without repayment. What could be more Christian than that? Yeah, it's very nice of him. I don't discount that at all. It seems the only repayment now is former friends running him down on multiple live streams. Is that being a good Christian? Judge not, lest ye be judged. I actually ended up in a conversation about this. I said, so the truth doesn't matter. Lone Star 1 was funded almost a year ago. How is that relevant? Brian says, I am only a lowly outsider. I enjoyed the work on all three of you did. I feel that all the good EVS did by turning me and others onto you guys is just being forgotten. No, it's not. I'm sorry how things seem to be turning out. I hope someday you can all mend fences. It's just really disheartening to see that. I said it's certainly not forgotten, but that does not behold me to nod my head and take his side when he is wrong and attacking my other friends, or either outright or through passive-aggressive attacks. Real friends will listen to you when they're telling you that you're wrong. Of course, they don't have to agree. Nobody has to agree, but they won't just shut you out for it. Brian apologizes for the harsh tone, but I'm having a tough time putting this into perspective. And I say, perspective is what it's all about. Read the comments. Seems no two people see this the exact same way. If people were more empathetic to each other's perspectives, we would all get along better. And no apologies aren't necessary, by the way. Brian ends it with, I understand everything happens for a reason. Thank you for your kindness and taking the time to respond. Well, thank you, Brian, for voicing your perspective as well. That's all we can ever ask, right? Eric Masyoro says, have you talked about this now for 5 videos? Seriously, move on already. How long are you going to dwell on this? Well, Eric, when you actually comment on it, and you know that I read the comments, it brings it up again, doesn't it? I said I don't want to talk about it anymore. That was last week. It's over. But I got to read the comments. It's part of the whole shtick with cross-examinations. I said, relax, it's all good. MM says, Blacklist Universe, I think commenting publicly in a series of videos was as wrong as Ethan's public tweet and Doug's open bashing of all CG, to be honest. Just more fuel to the fire. You could have given your opinion to Ethan and Doug privately. What? Micah. Mommy's calling you. Eric Masyoro says, Mike, take a day off from YouTube and spend it with the family. Sometimes people can get so caught up in these ridiculous feuds that they can't see the forest for the trees. Yeah, that's what I do on Sundays. At any rate, you all are welcome to your opinions. I'm not going to tell you your opinion is wrong. Everyone has an opinion. Just like belly buttons. The drama makes my stomach hurt, says Wonder Girl 60s. It's boring, isn't it? It is boring. Alright, I'm going to just skip over any of the Ethan, EVS, Doug drama mentions in the chat, and we will just continue on as if last week ended on Saturday. Ended on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday is the last week of the week. Sunday's the first day of the week. And we will go on. But see, you guys just want to keep bringing it up. Hate the drama. I have an opinion of that opinion. Well, I have an opinion of that opinion on that opinion of which you have an opinion. So take that, Custom Elvis. Yeah. Moving on. Onward and upward, as they say. Onward and upward. P-Money says, I have my own opinions. Is it okay if I have my own opinions? Yes, as long as they align with mine. exactly and perfectly. Otherwise, be gone with you. Just kidding. I was like, okay, I get it. Marvel sucks. We don't keep bringing it up. There's just a 15-second delay. Thank you, Mike. You beat me. Now I'm going to eat banana bread. Ooh, that sounds delicious, actually. Kevin. Uh-oh. Hikaru has opinions on P-Money's opinions. This could be a problem. You guys want to just jump right into the topic of the day? It is, we are only 20 minutes in, but we could get on that, and then let's talk about Jesus or the topic. All right, let's do the topic then. The topic of the day. If I can find it. From ChristianHeadlines.com. Trump Department of Justice transgender employees are not protected by Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Trump Justice Department... Hold on a second. Let me get a swig of coffee before I do this. Topic of the day. Should I do that with claps? Hold on. Topic of the day. The Trump Justice Department is siding with a Christian-owned funeral home against a fired transgender employee in a major Supreme Court case that will determine whether the federal law bans employment discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. The High Court will hear oral arguments October 8th to decide if Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which bars discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin, also bans discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. Lower courts have split on the issue. The U.S. Sixth Court of Appeals, which heard the funeral home case, ruled that the definition of sex within the Civil Rights Act encompasses sexual orientation and gender identity. The Trump Justice Department, in a new brief, sides with RG&GR Harris Funeral Homes, a Michigan-based business which dismissed a biological male employee who came out as a transgender female and began dressing like a woman. The ex-employee is Amy Stevens, formerly known as Anthony Stevens. The funeral home's owner is a Christian who has a sex-specific dress code requiring, quote, male employees to wear suits and ties, and female employees to wear skirts and business jackets, unquote, the brief notes. The question of whether transgender employees should be protected within the Civil Rights Acts, the Justice Department says in the brief, should be left to Congress. In 1964, the ordinary public meaning of sex was biological sex, the brief says. It did not encompass transgender status, or should I say, transgender status, which Stevens and the Sixth Court describe as a disconnect between an individual's biological sex and gender identity. In the particular context of Title VII, legislation originally designed to eliminate employment discrimination against racial and other minorities, it was especially clear that the prohibition on discrimination because of sex referred to unequal treatment of men and women in the workplace. Congress's actions since 1964 confirm this understanding. Congress, the brief says, has consistently declined similarly to expand that statute, even while amending Title VII in other respects. The Justice Department warns about the widespread repercussions in Supreme Court sides with the Sixth Circuit, saying, quote, it would render unlawful every practice that takes account of or turns on sex, from workplace dress codes to sex-specific restrooms to different male and female business standards. Title VII cannot plausibly be construed to compel that extreme result, the Justice Department says, unquote. The issue, the brief says, is not whether employees ought to be prohibited from discriminating against individuals, employers, my apologies, who are transgender, but whether Title VII, as written currently, bars such discrimination. Fundamentally, that is a question for Congress, not the courts, the brief says. The case is one of 3 LGBT cases the Supreme Court will hear October 8th. In Altitude Express versus Zarda, a gay man says he was fired by a skydiving company because of his sexual orientation. The U.S. Second Court of Appeals sided with him. In Bostock versus Clayton County, Georgia, a man says he was fired as a child welfare services coordinator because he is gay. He sued and lost at the U.S. 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. I can comment on neither of those. I know nothing about them. So, yes, it seems that in the olden days, when people knew the difference between a man and a woman, boy, wasn't life so much easier? Where is that? And you know what? Again, I do feel for people who have gender dysphoria, and I mean, I couldn't imagine sitting in my body, which is so masculine, and thinking, I feel like a lady. I don't know. I can't even contemplate it. Honestly. So I feel for them. But that does not mean that all of society must therefore kowtow to your particular mental status. So what is the thing? You can tolerate, but you cannot force people to accept your mental status as the norm or a norm. It may be a normal to you. Normal is entirely subjective, but I'm talking about culturally and biologically normal. Isn't that weird? They try to make normal a bad word because it's normalist. No, what? Not normalist. It's abnormalist. Because if something's normal, then that which is not normal is abnormal. And abnormal is a negative, has negative connotations. Words. Is autism a mental illness? Is it? I don't know. Does that qualify as a mental illness? I don't know. I don't know how they qualify that. Withheld? Shouldn't you know? I don't know how they categorize autism, or like, you know, my son's developmental retardation. I don't know if that's a mental illness or just a genetic abnormality. You know what I mean? Mental defect. Well, yeah, in the case of, well, that's the thing. Point blank, if your brain and your DNA disagree, guess what? Your DNA is not wrong. It's not wrong. So I'm crazy. I don't know how to categorize it. Withheld, rather not say. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your whoever you go to find that. I'm not God. I'm not the arbiter of all definitions. So you tell me what you are. Do we allow schizophrenic people to stab random children because they see little demons, right? Trying to scare their skin off in their minds? No, that would be bad. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna draw a line in the sand. No, we don't allow that. By the way, 57 watching now, 22 likes. Please hit that like and hit that share. Aw, we've got 2 down votes. Mike isn't God. He's a noob gamer. Hey, I'm not a noob. I'm just out of practice. Jeez. There, Dragon says autism is a neurological disorder, not a mental disorder. Oh, that makes sense. Withheld rather not saying. I was asking pretty much everyone. Oh, okay. P Money says, on a personal note, for years I felt gay during which I was attracted to guys. Now that I'm attracted only to women, especially my wife, people think I'm lying to myself, but I'm not. P Money, was there a moment when it switched? Was there a moment when you understood that? Because here's the deal. Almost every gay man, now I haven't talked to a lot of lesbians about this, but I have talked to a lot of gay men about this question, has a father or who is either mentally or physically absent or abusive, and they never learned through experience what real phileo, which is the Greek term for brotherly love, real love between men is supposed to be. So they confuse that love with eros, which is not why I hate the whole love is love thing, because there's one word for love in the English language and there's 4 words for love in the Greek language, and they each have their own specific places, and but they are all powerful emotive forces. And so if you do not understand which category this love is supposed to go into, you don't want to love your child the way you love your wife, right? And you don't love your wife the way you love your brother, and you don't love your brother the way you love God. So these different love forces, which are powerful and can force emotional drives in a person, they should each fall into their proper category. But when you just take them all up, jumble them all together and say, love is love. No, man. You don't want to love. That's why we get pedophiles. I love that little girl. It's like, no. That's the wrong love. You wanna pick that up out of your eros category and drop that into agape. Love them like, I don't know, whatever. Don't say that in Greece. So I'm just wondering, when it came to you, was it P Money says, no, nothing about abuse from someone. Just when I was in high school, I decided to only pursue women, which is a choice, and eventually feelings for guys was no longer an issue. No. What I'm saying, mentally or physically, abusive or absent. So, mentally absent. Like a father who, like my father didn't say, I love you until after he had a stroke. Because his father never told him he loved him either, right? So you can have a father who's there physically, but not really there emotionally or mentally. I think emotionally. You know what I mean? There's not a real loving relationship, a proper and well-formed loving relationship between son and father. And so, therefore, the son never understands quite what that phileo kind of relationship is. Oh, you've always had a great father? Oh, okay. Well, then you are an outlier as far as my perspective, as my experience has been. Well, actually, yeah, I didn't really do this with bisexual people. Cannibalism is inappropriate. Hey, now, don't judge. I know that sounds weird, but that's how it was for me. I thought about it for a second, then I decided that balls are gross, and I would... Okay, I'm not going to finish that. Vic says, but you didn't come out gay. I did have an attraction to a friend of mine at one point in time, and I told him about it, and he said, oh, that's because we're like brothers. And it was weird. It was like a light switch. It was just like I said, dropping it I love this dude, right? But I didn't understand that connection, and I was talking to him about it, and he said, yeah, it's because we're like brothers. And when he said that, it was like that emotion just shifted and dropped into the right category, and I was like, oh, that's right. And that was before I was a Christian anyways. But you didn't come out not gay. It was EVS. Mike is officially bi-curious. I wasn't curious. I wasn't like fantasizing or anything. All right. Checkpoint says the only gay men I know have some estrogen imbalance problem. The rest are just weirdo kids that the teachers turned out. And Roundup. Thomas says, remember XX and XY chromosomes? Good luck changing that. Checkmate. Withheld says, why do folks hate people who used to be gay? Isn't that dissemination? It's because there is this lie that you can't if you're gay, you're gay. You can't pray the gay away, right? All that kind of stuff. There's an entire group on Facebook called XLGBT through Jesus Christ. And it's just all these people who found a way to finally get in touch with each other, form a group, and give their testimonials. You can go on Facebook and look it up. XLGBTE, X-LGBT through Jesus Christ. Yeah, and it's a bunch of transgenders who went straight, gays and lesbians who went straight, got married, are happy, love Jesus, all that kind of stuff. There's a whole gobble of them. Gaggle, not gobble, sorry. There's a whole gaggle of them. And yeah, there's people who don't want to believe they exist, get livid if you try to say that they do exist, because they don't want to change and they don't want to give people the option to change. It's all in your head. Unless you're a hermaphrodite, it's all in your head. Oh, Sparks Mike got friend zoned. Orbital says, I think what Mike is saying isn't a necessarily gay or straight thing. Absent fathers make either relationship difficult. True. Absolutely true, Orbital. P Money says, good point. I never really did have good male friends until I was adult. Migs off to work. All right, Migs, peace out, brother. Hate the sin, not the person. There's a difference. Yeah, but people don't understand that, Jay. And you know why part of that is because they take the sin and they make it their identity. So therefore, if you hate the sin, you hate their identity, which makes you hate the person, which you don't. You're just hating the sin. Because most people don't say adulterers. They don't make adultery their identity, right? That's why this whole identitarian movement is so dangerous. You take this sexual act that you engage in and you make your entire identity based around that. It's like, I base my identity on Christ, right? If somebody said, oh my gosh, I hate comic books, I would be like, oh, that guy hates my identity. Because it's me doing comic books is not my identity. My identity is Christ. I'm a son of God. But when you make your whole identity, I'm gay, I'm transgender, I'm whatever, and then someone says, I hate the sin, you can figure it out. That's why it becomes so emotional, you know. I should check that out. Oh, what's up, Mike? Check which out? Check what out? Oh yeah, Mike, you're gay. What do you think about what I said? I find it odd that psychologists are encouraged to help. The Facebook group. Yeah, check it out, man. Help kids be gay, but are barred from trying to help them be straight. I find it odd that psychologists are encouraged to help kids be gay. Yeah, I know. It's all just political crap now, man. That's garbage. Xgal says that ex-LGBT group is great, very brave. Aaron says, I love only one woman in every town. What is that? I'm a wanderer, I roam around. Isn't LGBT plus just an edgy counterculture, says Atechi Duran. I don't know. I've never looked at it that way. Punk rock was edgy counterculture. Everything I would say to follow up on that would come out wrong. So I'm just going to stop right there. While I think there is an attraction toward basic male-female, I think it is more true to say people are attracted to a number of elements that line up with male-female, says Dragon. Can you expound, Dragon, please? Withheld says, if a gay person wants to be gay, I'm fine with that. If a gay person wants to be straight, I'm fine with that. Yet I'd be called a gay hater just for praying to Jesus. Probably. Sins don't exist, and I hate everyone. It's a lot easier, says Dragon. You can't just fill your life with hate, Dragon. Vic King says, Mike, I know many Christian LGBTQ gay doesn't preclude you from a relationship with Jesus Christ and does not preclude you from Jesus' love. No. Being attracted to the same sex is not, oddly, it's not even condemned in the Bible that I can think of. It is the action, right? Like, me being attracted to a woman who's not my wife, as long as I'm not actively lusting after her, is not a sin. But if I actively lust after her, it's a sin. If I actually commit the act, that is a sin worthy of divorce. Right? So, attraction, quote unquote, natural or otherwise, is not a sin. Fantasizing, and then where that leads, lust in your heart, that's the sin. And where that leads, the worse the sin gets. If someone out there knows the Bible better than me and knows someplace in the Bible where it contradicts what I just said, just post it in the chat, because I don't think it's the case. And I've read the Bible several times. XGal says, Freedom March holds gatherings around the country for ex-LGBT that are now Christ followers. They share their testimonies. 2 of the Orlando gay nightclub survivors are part of that group as well. Oh, 2 of them. I knew one of them was. I guess that's new. You're not a son of Jack Kirby, Mike? No. Mike Oxmal says, I had sex with a woman last night. I've been cruising the channel for a couple weeks now, and being around all of me convinced me to try one last time to be straight. That's, if you're not married, Mike, that's a sin too. I don't mean to judge or anything, but I don't think that's quite the way. I just feel like now I've encouraged you to go and commit it. Love you, brother. There are plenty of people who hate people based solely on liking games, comics, etc. Well, Alan Sparks says, well, I have to admit, I'm probably not keen on murderers and P to the E, even though they don't make their defining trait either. P P to the E. I don't know what that means. Pedophiles? Anyways, Mike Oxmal says, Mike, I think you're making a lot of sense today, especially considering what I've been through since coming to your channel. I'm doing so much better. Oh, that's great to hear, Mike. I appreciate that. Changing the subject for a second. What's on D&Q this week? I don't know. Not quite sure. We'll have to think of something. Real Steel says, you don't make sense. Sorry. Love is selfless. Lust is selfish. That is correct, Atechi. That is correct. Aaron says, I'm not a villain. I never hurt anyone. I have two ambitions in life. One is to drink every pub dry. The other is to sleep with every woman on earth. Proximo. I don't know what that's from. The only Proximo I can think of is from Gladiator. Proximo, are you in danger of becoming a good man? Ha! I love that movie. Let's see. We got about 14 minutes left to go. We can keep talking about this, or I can check out another story. I'll leave it to you guys. What do you think? Dragon says, for example, if someone is attracted to dominant personalities. Hold on a second. Where'd that go? Men tend to be more dominant, so they are more likely to be attracted to men. Not because they are men, because they are men are more likely to be dominant. I don't think that has anything to do with sexuality, because there are dominant women. And if you're attracted to dominant men, I don't necessarily think that means you would be attracted to dominant women. Right? But I now I understand what you're talking about. Where is the fine line between lust and attraction? Well, I can look at pretty girl and be like, wow, that is a pretty girl, right? But if I'm looking at that pretty girl and I'm going, and I keep looking, and I look her up and down, and I'm feeling that skin on my fingertips, and I'm imagining it, that. I hope I didn't make anyone uncomfortable. You know. And for a lot of people, it's as simple as thinking the difference between like a young girl and a girl who's over 18, right? They might look exactly the same, but if you look at the girl who's over 18, okay. I don't know how to say this without sounding freaking weird. But if you look at a young girl and you start doing that, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm a pedophile. But if you look at a girl who's like one day older, right, and it's like her 18th birthday, and you look at her and you're like, oh, well, she's legal. So then you feel like you can, but in your mind, if you think the other way on the day before, it's a mental switch, right? Well, that mental switch is lust. You don't want to lust over the girl who's a day younger than the girl who's a day over her 18th birthday. I don't know. I'm trying to explain the difference between being attracted, or whatever, saying, that's physically attractive. That is, I don't know. I've always tried to qualify how weird it is, because you can look at like a sunset or a flower or a mountain range and just like stare at how beautiful it is, right? But there's no There's no temptation to move beyond just appreciating the beauty, the attractiveness of a thing. But there is the very real possibility of going down that slope if you're staring at a beautiful girl too long, or in the other case, a beautiful boy, or on the flip side, whatever it is. This is a very weird thing to quantify, and I've thought about it before. I'm like, I even think about like body parts, how men will like stare at body parts, and it's like, well, everybody's got a butt. Everybody's got legs. You know, it's like, but why? What is this lust of the flesh that kicks into a guy's head when they see a woman's leg, clean shaven, silky smooth, and they start, as you know, but it's like everyone has legs. So what is it? It's something. I don't know. Maybe I overthink it, because I've sat there and thought about it. What is it? What triggers a guy from going, just looking at something and appreciating it, to heading down that lust hill? All right? I don't know. That's weird. Maybe some of you guys can have some ideas on that. Not everyone has legs, Mike, you dang ableist. Withheld says it's because of a specific type of leg. Jay Hamilton says, oh, I know the feeling. I'm a female leg man. It is weird if you think about it. Okay, now here's another thing. What if there's like a tranny, transvestite, transsexual, I don't even know what the right word is nowadays, who has very feminine legs, who is trying to fool you and fools you, and then you discover you've been fooled, and you're like, oh, no. Transformer. Mike Oxmell says, Mike, it wasn't your fault I had sex with a woman last night. I just found a woman I made a connection with, and that was important to me. I hope God forgives. God does forgive. And Mike, the connection is the important part, not the physicality, right? The connection leads to the relationship, hopefully leads to the marriage that leads to the sexuality. Don't put the cart before the horse. Yeah, don't put the cart before the horse. No, you are not gay if you are tranny tricked. Mayor McChee says tranny is super offensive, like most of Gary's D&Q entries. No, it's a trap. Oh my gosh, I remember when I was 18 and they put you get any of you guys old enough to remember Tula? They put Tula in Playboy, and I was like, why are you doing this? Let's see. Dragon says, define the difference between cute, pretty, sexy, and hot. No, I'm good. SV says, I can't imagine. Go on, Mike. Some great material here. You guys like it when I'm uncomfortable. I know you do. Never make that noise while gazing into the camera again, Mike. Well, I was channeling John Malin. Kevin Ryan says, we're not uncomfortable. We're just glad the camera is not two-way. David Rogers says, it is not... Whoops, where'd you go? It is one thing to recognize beauty, is another thing to imagine scenarios with that person. Yeah. Yes. But hey, you know what? You can't stare at a beautiful woman who's not your wife as long as you can stare at a sunset. Well, actually, it's probably not good to stare at sunsets either. But maybe that's the whole thing, right? Oh, hi, Mom. Was ist? Oh, thank you. My notes for Atomic Family. I was writing notes down at my mom's house, and I left my notebook there. Orbital Goat points out that Jesus was tempted by Satan in the desert, but still did not sin. That is correct. That is correct. Mike continues with his story. Mike's penthouse letter continues. Mike, I felt convicted not to last night, but the woman I shared myself with, I've had a relationship with for a while, and I know it was outside of marriage, but I got lost in my new attraction to her. Well, yeah, confess your sin. Jesus is faithful and just, faithful and true. Faithful and just to forgive us our sins. Then yeah, develop that relationship, man. Take her out to lunch. David Rogers says, Mike Oxmal, the main issue is identity as a disciple of Christ. A disciple places sexual behavior with male-female marriage. Please not Zorro, says Mayor McCheese. How did you know I was thinking of Zorro? That's too funny. All right, scrolling back down to the bottom. We've only got 4 minutes left. That last 10 minutes flew by. Awkwardness makes the time fly. I've got 6 downvotes now. Oh, I didn't even ask you guys to like and share today. We've got 57 people watching, so. Yay, Mike's mom. My eyes? Oh, staring at the sun. Yeah. Is Playboy lust or attraction? I think the entire point of Playboy is lust, real steel. Nobody buys Playboy because they're not reading the articles. Even if they're reading the articles, that's not why they buy it. Mike Oxmel says she doesn't believe in God, or at least is agnostic. Ooh, I believe I can still grow and hopefully bring the good news to her. Yeah, well, please, share the good news with her. Just don't share too much with her, brother. If you are not... blobs of fats. I know, isn't that the weirdest thing? Just like an orb. Just a big round ball of fat. And you're like, let's see. 2 minutes. Zorro is a guy in regular clothes and mask. I knew you were thinking of Zorro because there was so much gay in this episode. Oh, Zorro the Gay Blade. I would totally do Zorro the Gay Blade. I love that movie. So funny. James Bond is from Playboy. John Carter. What the hell? You always say that. Looks like Tula was uncredited in the Bond movie as a girl at pool. Are you serious? Don't miss the orbs. Yes, the woman who can store fat is good to have back at the cave. Alright, everyone is going to draw Cecil instead of Zorro. Well, I hope this wasn't as uncomfortable for all of you as it was for me today. It's these weird things I think about, like, why? And I guess it's just human nature or whatever. But say hi, Mom. Hi. Everyone wants you to say hi.
Hello, how are you?
And so I'm going to cut this out now. We got about a minute left anyway, so you're going to take your leave. I'm going to take my leave too, withheld rather not say. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your Monday afternoon with me. And I don't know, just be good, I guess. Be good. try to maintain that cold hard line between attraction and lust. That's what Jesus wants you to do. God loves you. I love you. Peace out. And until later, aloha.